how's it going? It's Swaybae, and we are on day 2 of our 5 days of top 5. Now, that being said, this isn't quite a top 5, but if we fudge some numbers, 11 can equal 5. So we're gonna go ahead and do a ranking of all of the new buddies and with their heroes, how valuable they're going to be when they come out. Okay, so I'm going to be ranking these new buddies. We got 11 new buddies, so I'm going to be ranking them from 11 to 1 based on a few criteria. My first criteria is like how broken it is. Like if it's broken, that's like just the weeder outer. That's not really a verb, but it is now. But that was a criteria I used just to push things to the top of the pack. Okay, these are broken. The next criteria is the timing of in-game usage. So by this, I mean, how long is the buddy impactful for? When is it impactful? Like at what point in the game does it make the biggest difference? And will you have it by then? On the other side of that, also considering if your buddy is an early buddy, is it going to be viable late game? Do you want it late game? Do you need it late game? And last but not least, we have the kind of conditionality. I'm just making up words left and right here, but it's kind of working. But by that, I mean, like, how conditional is the optimal situation for the buddy? So if it's like, you have to, you know what? I'll use myself as an example. Like for bomb comp, I can't tell you my attempts to win rate on bomb comp, specifically this meta, it's not a good ratio. So how conditional is your win chance? Specifically with this buddy, does it have a lot of ways to help you get to your final board? Does it not? There's a lot of things to consider here. That being said, let's dive right into our hero and buddy combo at number 11. This is the Jailer and the Mossworn Soul Keep. This is the tier 3, 3/3 undead with the death rattle of summoning 3 tier 1 units. I did say, you know, there could be some chance of getting some decent tier 1 units. However, that is not like the highest threshold to really be able to help you out there. Sure, it can buff the Jailer's hero power. However, I'm not quite sure that the Jailer's hero power is like strong enough for this buddy to be very impactful, to be able to create a win condition for Jailer outside of just potentially high rolling. I think that maybe, if anything, tier 3 might be a little bit late on it. It might need to be a tier 2, but I mean, you could kind of try to force getting that buddy as early as possible. But it's definitely not going to be very valuable later on in the game. I'm just having some doubts about how much this buddy can keep up compared to what I remember of the other buddies. Moving on to number 10, we have Taryn and the Shadowy Construct. This is the tier 3, 3/4 undead. After friendly minion dies, give its neighbors +1/+1. So in the dev notes, it did mention it would help you kind of think about positioning when you're using the hero power for Taryn, and I think that's fantastic. I'm just not sure that a +1/+1 stat line is strong enough. That being said, it is not in last place because there can be the condition. Taryn in general is not a bad hero, where I don't feel like the Jailer is strong enough to just have the buddy that the Jailer has. Taryn is definitely able to get things done with undead, with leapers. I've seen it. So the buddy may not be that useful or resourceful for what Taryn already does, especially considering most of the time, specifically beast and undead comp I'm thinking about here, those comps are kind of buffing themselves. So sure, like a Shadowy Construct could remove something from danger by giving it just that +1 health, could keep it alive for a little bit longer. But I'm not sure yet if this is enough. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm feeling right now. Moving on to number 9, we have Sylvanas with her buddy Nathanos. Nathanos is a tier 5 undead 3/6. This is a tier 5. I'm pretty sure this is the only tier 5 from the new minions, I believe. With a battle cry of remove a friendly minion and give stats to neighbors. Someone in the comments from my overview video of the blog post and the new minions did mention that maybe it's a little bit stronger than I thought. And, you know, it was a fair point. Definitely can buff a minion and then move those stats to specific minions, which is very valuable. I'm just not sure that Sylvanas hero power combined with this battle cry effect, I don't think it's enough to be able to keep up, because I don't know. I don't necessarily take Sylvanas because I feel like the hero power is just a little bit too slow of scaling. And I mean, you can buff those small units and then sell them onto a Chronormu or something like that. But sometimes that kind of tempo line doesn't take you very far. But with Sylvanas' hero power combined with Nathanos, it might be a little bit better than I'm expecting. So maybe it's moving up from 9, but for right now, for me, before playing, it's just sitting at a 9. And on we go to number 8, we have Ozumat with Tamuzo, the tier 3 4/4 beast. Now this is an avenge unit with 2 minions dying, and you upgrade your hero power +1/+1. The reason this is at number 8 for me is because I feel like it's kind of counterintuitive with your typical Ozumat playstyle. You want to cycle, you want to buy, sell minions, and since it is a tier 3, I don't feel like it's going to happen that quickly. However, Ozumat is more inclined to win battles, so that discount is going to happen a little bit faster. But it's basically asking you to play a kind of summoning playstyle and then eventually switching to a cycling playstyle, which, 8, 9 gold. Up until then, you're buying the best unit you can. A lot of the times that is a summoning unit just to get as much tempo out on the board as possible. So again, this could be another one that may be better than I think, but the reason it's at 8 because I do feel it is slightly counterintuitive playstyle, and also the tier 3 of it tells me it's like what I'm guessing to be early mid game. And then I don't think it's going to be something that you're going to want to keep forever, because at a certain point, to get that Ozumat value, you do want to keep cycling and summoning, and that does lend to large minion building. Moving on up to number 7, we have a Sire Denathrius with the Shady Aristocrat. This is a tier 2, 2/2 neutral. I will admittedly say this was much higher up on my list until I started using my smart sway logic and thought about it. It's a battle cry, you discover a quest, and when you complete it, you get an 8 gold pouch. So 8 gold is nothing to look down at. That's a lot of gold. And it is a tier 2. This is pretty early, and you just complete a quest, so you can pick one that's not very challenging. I know a lot of us picked the harder quests to get the better rewards, but this is always going to be an 8 gold reward. I think that this lends to 2, potentially 3 spike turns, depending on if you triple the buddy or if you play each one individually. And you do get it pretty early. And I think that there are conditions, especially if you get a good quest with Denathrius, where this could be a beautiful spike. But the RNG sounds fun. I am just slightly concerned that maybe 8 gold is a lot of effort for whatever the quest is. But of course, this is a speculation. We don't know what the quests look like yet, so we'll definitely have to try this out day 1 and check it out. Moving on up to 6, we now have Putricide with Festergut. Festergut is the tier 4 5/2 undead with the death rattle of summon a random creation. Reminder again that this is tavern tier locked, so if you are on 4, you cannot summon a creation with 6 drops or 5 drops. Really, really good and important in my opinion. So the reason this is at 6 is I do think that this is actually pretty strong. However, the RNG of it makes it kind of hard. Well, it makes it entirely hard to predict. You don't know what kind of creation you're going to get. If you put it at the front of your board and you get like an abomination coming out of that for some reason, it's going to just die. Like you're not going to get the value out of it. So I feel like it's fun. I am excited to play this. I think it's going to be really fun, but I don't know how valuable it's going to be. Best case, you get like some money or some skeletons or maybe a dragon. Maybe you buff your Eternal Knights that you're already doing, but we're just going to have to wait and see on this one. And now for number 5, we have our Togwaggle with Waxy Dread. This is the tier 4 5/7 elemental dragon with the battle cry of refresh your tavern tier with all of your opponent's highest tavern tier minion. This does play beautifully with Waxy Dread. This does play beautifully with Togwaggle's hero power of having 7 potential 4, 5, 6 drops and getting them all for 10 gold or less. Like, that is a steal. That is a bargain. You are smart shopping there. However, the reason it's not higher up on the list is because I do think that maybe if it is a tier 4, it's coming to you mid game. Definite easy mid game for sure. You're not going to want to use it right away. And that is a benefit of the button, is that you can wait and use it whenever you want to use it and then push the button and get 2 more of them turn 14 if you really want to. It feels like it's just very, very late game. You're going to want to wait as long as you possibly can to get the best value out of it that you can, especially considering the people and the heroes that have a greedier playstyle, probably starting out at least in this meta, are not going to be playing that greedier playstyle. I think everyone's going to be trying to win combats, and at least until people kind of gauge how greedy they can actually be, it feels like you're not going to want to play Waxy Dread for a good long while, which makes it feels like you're not going to want to play Waxy Dread for a good long while, which is why it comes in at number 5. I surprised myself with this one. Okay, this is number 4 with Enhanso Medico for Enhansotron. This is a tier 2, 2/3 mech, and it gives minions in the tavern tier with any of the keywords that Enhanso uses, +1/+1 per keyword. It is a really early buddy, and I think that it's very, very valuable early game. You can get some serious tempo, and sometimes if you have enough tempo, the game is over for everyone before they can even get a full board going. In the dev comments, it did mention Bronze Warden, and if you think about it, that Bronze Warden, that's a base stat of a 2/1, is going to be an additional +2/+2 just existing. That's just it now. So that doesn't feel so bad. I know it doesn't have a lot of longevity to it. It's not going to be something you're going to want to keep into the late game. However, I am thinking of the value in the early game right now, and I do think it's pretty dang good. Like, I think that this might be a sleeper. Now on to 3, we have the Coil Fang Elite for Lady Vash. This is the tier 2, 3/4 Naga. After a spellcraft appears in the tavern, you get a copy of that spell. So I was kind of 50-50 on how strong I thought this was, because, you know, spellcraft, first of all, not permanent. However, with Lady V, the first one you play is. When I was first thinking about this minion, I was like, you know, this could be kind of useful. I think the hardest part about it is hand space management, but if you're running like a brute and you're just rolling, and I don't know about y'all, but I definitely have, unfortunately, rolled away 10 gold more times than I would like to admit. But if you really think about it, how many Naga would you see during that 10 gold? Like, so even if you do spend a full turn just donkey rolling and not finding what you want to find, at the very least, you are getting the spellcraft to your hand from the shop. That feels like not the worst case scenario. There are a few situations here that I think this could be very, very valuable. And again, especially since it is a tier 2, I think that this is going to see play pretty quickly and help you just get your minions going and get to tier 6 pretty efficiently. And with the tempo of getting however many spellcraft, shouldn't really be losing too many battles either, I think. You could absolutely low roll and not see too many Naga in your rolls, but I have good feelings about this one. And now we are at spot number 2. This is for Queen Ashara with the Imperial Defender, another Naga. This is a tier 3, 2/4 Naga. Whenever you cast a spellcraft spell on a minion, also cast it on this. So I made a reference to the Stormscale Siren when we talked about this, and that was just utterly busted. I know this is not the same level of busted. However, like, having the procs with Brute, with Critter Angler, with Athissa, like, having this extra unit just giga scaling alongside everything else is just really, honestly good. Like, sure, building large units, especially with any kind of removal, Murloc specifically, or just Leroy's, there's a lot of scary things that you could run that into, but it is tier 3, so you're looking at early mid game, and it just sounds like it's going to be very beneficial. Especially after you proc that hero power for Ashara and you reach that 30 attack warband and start to discover a Naga every turn for 1 gold. Like, it's money in the bank. And last but not least, our best new minion for our heroes introduced after buddies in the #1 spot is Watfin for Murloc Holmes. This is a tier 3 2/6 beast. After you guess with your hero power correctly, you get a plain copy of the minion, with the gold version giving you 2. Murloc Holmes was already free money. Literally free money. 0 cost to use the hero power, and you get money if you're right. Now it's like twice the free money, so you could be twice as greedy, and you can also get really good minions potentially, or triples. This is just, oh, this feels so good. Like, easily, there in terms of all of the new minions that came in, there was just a big gap, and then Murloc Holmes sitting at the top with a crown on. That's, oh, I know what I'm going to be playing day 1. So that was my ranked list of the new buddies coming to Battlegrounds, and I would love to hear your thoughts. I'd like to know what you think about my thoughts and also your ranked list if you made one yourself. Tomorrow is a little break from our 5 days of top 5 for a new series we're starting on YouTube, which I really hope you enjoy. And then Saturday we'll be back with a very anticipated top 5 buddy memes. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.